Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Hell in a Cell Review 2014 on Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Hell in a Cell 2014 got up the air a little while ago. If you haven't seen it, I think it's a lot of parts of it is a must watch. There's some garbage parts of it, obviously, like I said in the preview. There's some matches I was looking forward to, some matches I wasn't looking forward to. I'll say it was one of the greatest returns WWE's done in a long time, and it was one of the most interesting Hell in a Cell matches of all time. Not saying it's best of all time, not saying top 5, maybe 5th, 6th all time, I think, just in everything they did, and that was in the same match. So let's get through this real quick. Pre-show we had a Damien Sandow, The Miz in the ring, Sheamus on the Titantron. Sheamus was talking, they were talking crap on each other, but Miz TV. Sheamus ended up bro kicking the camera. This is what's going to happen in the match. Then we had a impromptu Mark Henry, Bo Dallas match. Bo Dallas comes out and says, "We're in the city that's named after me." Everyone's like, "What?" Bo, Washington. Obviously with Dallas Cowboys playing in the Washington Redskins. Monday Night Football, he was kind of playing off that. He was Bo Washington, and they were in Dallas because he's Bo Dallas. It was like, whatever, stupid. Squash job, Mark Henry won. Whatever. To the card, we had the IC title start off 2 out of 3 falls. We had champion Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro. Obviously, like I said in the preview, it's probably going to be a short fall, and then, a pin, and then maybe a short fall, and then let it go. It was, seemed like an old school 2 out of 3 fall match. Chris Benoit versus MPP quite a number of years ago. Chris Benoit won in 2 straight falls. Same way here. Dolph Ziggler gets the win. 2 pins. They didn't even give Cesaro a pin. Coming to the highlights of the match. It was what the hell did I write? Oh, Cesaro did the big swing on Ziggler, and then right after the big swing, ended up being a roll up by Ziggler for the first pin. Cesaro seemed to be favoring his arm a lot. Don't know if he heard it, or if he pulled a muscle, or if he was just kind of acting. Once he started favoring his arm, Ziggler started kind of going after that. Cesaro, had a suplex on Ziggler off the top rope. Then there was just an uppercut by Cesaro that looked as sick as can be. Dolph ended up coming back in and giving a quick pin. So, it was good to see Dolph actually win this and move on, but they didn't really Cesaro looked like garbage. Cesaro looked pretty strong too. The next match we had the Bella versus Bella, Nikki versus Brie. The losers, the winners, assistant for 30 days. If they don't do that, they have to quit WWE. Better than I thought it would be. It was a decent match. Brie kind of did like a dive through the ropes and hit Nikki in the knee, and Nikki was kind of favoring her knee. Kind of thought that was going to play into it. Brie hit a missile drop kick, and then Nikki had hit 2 rack attacks. If you haven't seen this, it's kind of like the torture rack that Lex Luger used to do into kind of a falling down. Call it the rack attack. Of course, if you go back to the Attitude Era WWE, and Diva had a rack attack as the finisher. Think Jerry Lawler and Puppies. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Nikki gets the win. Kind of look awkward, kind of look stupid. Obviously, later tonight, there was a promo backstage. You see Brie putting bags in a cart. It was Nikki. Nikki asked for a smoothie. Brie's sipping on it, of course. Nikki asked for a smoothie. She hands it to her. She's like, "Is there three bananas in there? Yeah. Is there 4 blueberries in there? Yeah. Is there 5 of this in there? Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, this one was for you." Opens it up, dumps her on her head. Now go make me a new one. So the shenanigans kind of crap we're going to see for the next 30 days. We'll see what happens on Raw, but Nikki gets the win, and Brie's supposed to be her assistant. Next on the card, we had the tag title match, the Usos versus the champion Star and Goldust. Obviously here, the tag division WWE has been looking pretty bad over the years. The Usos come on board. Every month on pay-per-views, every time they do a match, they get a little bit better. Stardust, Goldust. Obviously, Goldust is, an older wrestler, been around a while. Stardust is just this sick Jim Carrey kind of as Robin, kind of twisted sick, and just when he goes like this as the star, it's kind of a unique character for Cody to play, but nothing very special in this match. It was a good match. I mean, obviously the tag title matches between these guys have been pretty good. The Usos are looking strong as always, weren't able to get the win. One thing they did, Stardust had Cody up, or sorry, Jey Uso had Cody up, getting ready to do like a body slam or something. Stardust hits him in the back of the leg, he falls, and with that move, Stardust ended up pinning him for the victory. It kind of looked cheesy. Obviously, the WWE is trying to look like with these guys, add to the tag division, keeping the feud going with these guys. There's other guys they need to either bring up in NXT or develop more tag teams, true tag teams, like they used to have. But obviously, with these two guys in the tag division and whatever they can bring up from NXT, the tag division is starting to look pretty good in WWE for once in probably a decade. Next, we had the number one contender, Hell in a Cell. You knew once this was in the mid-card like this, there was a shot of John Cena losing. Typically, if a John Cena's main event in a pay-per-view, he's not losing it, period. So we had Randy versus John Cena, kind of two old guys, who they feuded for the whole. They had a video package about their whole career, from the day one they came in pretty much the same time through now, from 2001 till now. They kind of their careers have been a lot of parallel, a lot of separating. Obviously John Cena is a 15-time world champion. Randy Orton's a 12-time world champion. Obviously they've feuded multiple times. Probably one of their greatest feuds was back in 2009 when they had a match in Hell in a Cell, which Randy won with a punt on John Cena. As the guys from Pro Wrestling Pulse and I were talking in the basement watching this, you knew if Randy was going to win this, he had to do it with a punt. And there were several opportunities that looked like he was going to punt Cena, but Cena was able to come back. A couple of highlights from it. Orton had a table set up inside the ring on the ropes in the corner, throws Cena through it. Cena slammed, does a FU slam, attitude adjuster, whatever you want to call it, on the steps. They brought the steps in. They had chairs in, tables in. The steps came in. They used everything they can think of. It was almost a TLC cage match. Actually, I made that comment. There was really a kind of I thought it was a sick spot. John Cena went to do the attitude adjuster on Randy, and Randy turns into an RKO, which I've never seen before. Ended up being another. Randy had a table set up outside the ring, or inside the ring, and ended up John Cena doing an attitude adjuster. Randy threw the table, and that got the victory for him. So then overall, it was a pretty good match. Obviously, Cena is number one contender now. He's going to go on and face Brock Lesnar, probably Royal Rumble. Once again, we get Cena Lesnar. We all know Lesnar's going to lose, or Cena's going to lose. Lesnar will win. Roman Reigns is supposed to win the Rumble, go on to WrestleMania. Blah blah blah. They just kind of keep that storyline going. They need to end that. They need to get, like I said in the preview, there used to be a 30-day rule. It's kind of sickening the fact that we got Brock Lesnar here with the title for almost 70-day title run. He's in one title defense. And, Cena had a 67-day title run and had like 5 defenses. So it's just, I don't get what they're doing. He's going to have his long title run and not defend the title because he's not around. But no, overall, it was a good match. Get Cena going on, number one contender. It looks like Randy's, if he's not out because of the back injury, because there was a back injury with Randy coming into this match, he may be going on a few with Seth Rollins, and you'll understand that when we get to the other Hell in a Cell. When I get to the other Hell in a Cell. Next match on the card, we had the U.S. title. We have champion Sheamus versus The Miz. It was just, it's funny but stupid. Damian Sandow, every time something would happen to Miz, it looked like it happened to him. Sheamus would kick him or clothesline him, and Sandow outside the ring would go down. Everything that you see Miz do in the ring, Sandow do on the outside of the ring. It got to be kind of stupid. He just just act out every move. Um, Miz was on the top rope. He went to jump off the top rope into a bro kick, and you see staying on the outside go, oof, like you get kicked. It's like really, short, sweet to the point. It's like a lot of matches have been lately. Sheamus retains his title. At the end of the match, both guys, Miz and Cena are laying in the ring. Um, Sheamus picks up Miz's arm, and then you see over here, you see um, Cena's arm come up. They kept doing it, he kept doing it, he kept doing it. Finally, he picks Miz up, so Sandow stands up, and he starts going, YMCA. Starts doing the YMCA with Miz's arms, and then Sandow's arms is doing the exact same thing. He just drops and they both fall. It was just kind of stupid. I think they need to break Sandow away from this Miz stupid shit and have Sandow's a lot more talent than Miz. That's what makes it funny though, is knowing how much talent Sandow has and he's hanging out with the Miz. But Sheamus is still your U.S. champion. Next we had Patriot Big Show versus Rusev. This whole Russian angle, like I said in the preview, isn't getting the heat it should be getting because it's 2014 and not 80s and 90s with the Cold War against Russia and everything. You can't have Mark Henry beat him. You can't have Big Show beat him. What are you gonna do? Have John Cena beat him? Yeah, that's probably one of the things they're looking at doing. Unfortunately, is having Cena go on to, save America, be the America's savior. You can't have Jack Swagger beat him. You can't have Big E beat him. You can't have Mark Henry. You can't have Bo Dallas. You can't have Big Show. But John Cena will come in against the big mean Russian and beat him. It's stupid. It's also looking like if they don't do Cena with him, as horrible it was to be WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan versus Rusev. Please, dear God, no. Cena's bad enough. Rusev actually did a suplex of Big Show, picked him up, suplexed him. You didn't think he'd be able to get him up, and he did. Rusev also did a drop kick and then won by submission. Mark Henry did come out. You kind of thought, okay, is there a rumor that Mark Henry might turn heel and attack the Big Show and feud them? He had a couple spots to do it. He didn't. So you don't know what's going on there. If he was just out there to kind of support him or if he's setting up. You don't know. But you just know Rusev gets the win against the Big Show. Goes on still undefeated. No one's pinned Rusev yet. Next match, we had the Divas title. We had champion AJ Lee versus Paige. Just gag me now. Yeah. Paige, the only funny part about this match, excuse me, Paige is skipping around the ring, carrying AJ Lee, and then there's a fallaway slam, and then that was about it. I mean, it's just why they have a heel like Paige with a associate and Alicia Fox, I don't know. AJ Lee and them getting the win by submission, and at the end you see Paige telling Alicia Fox she hates her and slaps her. So you don't know if they're breaking up or what's actually going on with that. The Divas division WWE right now is pretty weak. You have a chance to take AJ Lee and AJ Lee and Paige and make it like Trish Stratus versus Lita was back in the Attitude Era. You get two women that are fairly talented, can actually do matches, good matches, but you're kind of doing stupid things with it. You gotta kind of let it be that like it was, add a Natalia to it, or even a Nikki or a Brie or somebody, and make it a bigger feud with the Divas versus just typically these two. This is like, I believe, the fourth month in a row we've had this. It's old already, guys. Change it up, do something different, Main event, Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Since April, when on Raw, Seth Rollins attacked Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, broke the Shield. You've had all these promos, these pay-per-view matches that didn't happen, then ones that did happen, and just everything that's gone on Raw. And Rollins taking out, Ambrose with the cinder blocks and with Kane, and him coming back, and just everything that's happened. You knew this feud was headed toward Hell in a Cell. Here we are, Hell in a Cell, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, main event. It gives these two guys a chance. Okay, it's the main event. Let's do this. Let's go haul out with this. started kind of like the Kane or Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell did. It started on top. Yeah, you have Dean Ambrose come out, gets in the ring, looks up, climbs on top. The 2014 Stooges, Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble come out, and Rollins comes out, and Rollins sends the Stooges up to get Ambrose off the cage. Stooges start getting their butt whooped. He threatens to throw him off. Rollins goes up there and attacks him. Yeah, you see the feud on there, like, okay, they're going to take a spot like throwing him off the cage. No, they can't. They can't. It's a 20-foot steel cage. In 2014, they're not doing that spot. Ambrose and Rollins start climbing down the backside of the cage, and you see the announcers clear off the announce tables. So you knew somebody's going through a table, if not both of them. They come about halfway down. Ambrose is hitting Rollins. You knew at that point. Somebody's going through a table. Rollins ends up headbutting, or Ambrose headbutt Rollins. They both fall identical time, boom, through the table. So you're not Spanish announce table, and then the American announce table. So you're thinking at this point, like, oh my God, is the match over? There's no way this is over. It's like 9:40. Maybe it is, That's it. Why would you do a Hell in a Cell match and do that? So you really didn't know what was going on. They bring the stretchers out. And oh, okay, this makes sense now. They'll bring the stretchers out. They'll stretcher them out. One of them will get off the stretcher, attack the other one. Match begins. Sure enough, this is what happens. They get off the stretcher. You think, oh my God, they recovered. They did, they get in the Hell in a Cell. Ambrose tells the referee, lock the door. He has all these chairs and tables and kendo sticks in there and just starts annihilating him. Of course, I'm saying, maybe Kane's under the ring, and Brian's like, that's possible. Anything's possible here, guys. You see Kane on the outside with a fire extinguisher. It's the only outside interference was Kane with a fire extinguisher. So that wasn't horrible. You get all the table spots set up. You get Rollins at one point buckle bombing Ambrose through a table on the outside. You get just the back and forth table spots after table spot. There's one table set up between the ring and the cage, kind of like this. And Rollins was standing on it, he's trying to flip Ambrose back through. And Rollins went through that table, I believe. And then at the very end, you get Ambrose pulling two center blocks underneath the ring, sets him up in the ring, went to do the curb stomp on Rollins in the ring. The lights go out. Well, all night there's been some feed issues with WWE Network. So you can at first I'm like, oh, it's just a feed issue at this spot in the match. Really, it's all black. And you start hearing this cryptic message, and we're all like, wait a minute. And J-Man just flips. He's like, holy crap, holy crap. I'm like, and you just realize all the promos that Bray Wyatt has done, that's the cryptic message that was in there. So we're on the edge of our seat going, what's going to happen? This is going to be sick, whatever it is. So when the lights come back on, you see Ambrose in one corner just kind of freaked out. There's a lantern sitting in the middle of the ring. You're like, then they do this hologram looking thing. It looks like Tupac almost. And this white hologram outline of a person, like a ghost or something. And we're just like, and then all of a sudden smoke comes, the hologram, Bray Wyatt runs straight through the hologram and just annihilates Ambrose. End up doing the Sister of Abigail, kisses him to the Sister of Abigail on him, and just does his backwards walk like a spider. And we're like, because Rollins sitting there, kind of like, bearing down the corner, like, what the hell's going on here? He ends up going in and getting the pin, so we get a Seth Rollins win in Hell in a Cell versus Ambrose. But you don't know, is Bray Wyatt with the Authority? Is he not? What's actually going on here? Obviously, it's setting up for Bray Wyatt Dean Ambrose feud. Never thought of it. Love the idea now. Obviously, Dean Ambrose, as great as he's become in WWE, this is kind of crazy psycho guy against the ultimate psycho guy in Bray Wyatt. It's like Bray Wyatt wants to do a feud. He attacked Chris Jericho. He attacked John Cena. It's like he's able to set his own feuds off. Here he attacks Dean Ambrose. Whatever comes of this is going to be some good stuff, obviously. You get the crazy Dean Ambrose versus the mind games of Bray Wyatt. Ooh, I'm all in. It's just going to be epic. But a lot of this Hell in a Cell match was a lot of Taker stuff Taker has done. You know, the return was a Taker-esque return. It's like they're trying to take Bray Wyatt and make him into the next Undertaker, which would make a lot of sense if they let him win the Rumble and go on and beat Lesnar. Have your future Undertaker as Bray Wyatt beat the guy who beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania, and just take Bray Wyatt from here and just put him right here where he belongs. It's just the promos we're going to see on Raw, and obviously after Bray Wyatt attacks somebody like this, he'll come on Raw and explain why he did it. So it's just, you know, crazy, crazy, crazy. And if you look back on some stuff that Ambrose did on the indie circuit, his name was John Moxley. Go look the stuff up on YouTube. He has some dark kind of, there's a dark promo in an alley that I remember seeing. They kind of remind me of the Wyatt family. So you just never know where this is going to go and how crazy this is going to get. But obviously Seth Rollins probably going on eventually to feud with Randy Orton, because there's talk of getting Randy Orton as a babyface, kind of changing his character up. You're going to have Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, probably John Cena and Rusev. Obviously, you know, world champion around until the first of the year. So I look at, you know, Survivor Series and TLC, maybe being Rusev and Cena, and then Cena going on the Rumble and facing Lesnar for the title, and then I guess the Elimination Chamber, they're changing it up. They're going to change the chamber to probably May or June, have you number one contender for SummerSlam. So a lot of changes in WWE. So you're probably have Rumble, then some WWE Fastlane or WWE Fast Break, kind of your bump in between Rumble and Mania. So we'll see where all this goes. But that wraps up the 2014 Hell in a Cell review. I'm your host Robert, and thanks for watching.